Who is going into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2025? That is the video today. I'm going to give my predictions who I think will get the nod on WrestleMania weekend. We are 3 months away at the time of recording, and well, we'll probably start getting some announcements for the Hall of Fame in the next few upcoming weeks. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. And I've got one of 3 names that I think could be the headline act, and then I'm going to go diving in who I think it will be. The first one, Dave Batista. He was supposed to be in the Hall of Fame a few years ago, and I guess schedules haven't matched up since, but that's probably one reason he's not been inducted since. Of course, it was during COVID at the time he was an option. The second one is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Of course, he's now part of the board of directors in WWE, so, and with it being the Netflix era now of WWE, you would imagine a big name like him could go in with his, appeal outside with mainstream audiences, being in Hollywood movies. But one other person who could be someone who could be in the same category, perhaps not as big a scale in the Hollywood side of things, but he's been involved in many movies now, is John Cena. And John Cena, of those 3, is going to be my prediction for the headline act. And here is my reason why I see it happening. Because John Cena is a massive name in WWE. He is going to now have his retirement year. He's available for WWE for multiple dates as well. You would imagine this being his last WrestleMania, this would be a good time to put him into the Hall of Fame. There is always potentially next year being the right year, but if John Cena's schedule takes up next year where he has to do a movie or other commitments, it feels like that John Cena wouldn't be available. And knowing that he's available this year and will be at WrestleMania in Vegas, barring I guess any injuries, although I imagine he still would be there in attendance, I imagine John Cena, this could be the right year to put him in the Hall of Fame. And if he is going to go into the Hall of Fame, my goodness, he's already been called the greatest of all time. I don't think it matters if he has the 16 world titles to his name or the 17 world titles at his name when he goes in the Hall of Fame. So I think this year is the right year, and I think if he goes into a main event of WrestleMania this year as well, it just adds things up even further for him. It'll be almost like the John Cena weekend in Vegas. So John Cena will be my nod to be the top headline act going in this year. Other names I have going into the Hall of Fame. First off, AJ Lee. Yes, the wife of CM Punk. Formerly was a longest reigning Divas champion in WWE. Someone I think many of us would love to see make a return, perhaps a Royal Rumble appearance or a one-off match. Hey, even a husband and wife duo with CM Punk in ring. Am I right, people? I think it'll be amazing to see AJ Lee make a return to WWE, but I think perhaps Hall of Fame is more likely. She certainly is worthy. She certainly has a big following with the WWE audience, and I think if I again have my predictions aligned correctly, I think this is the year, if CM Punk stays healthy, we'll also get one night main eventing a WrestleMania. So again, how big a weekend can you make it? Have AJ Lee go into the Hall of Fame with her credentials as well. It just seems like the right fit for me. Next for me, Ken Shamrock, the world's most dangerous man. One of my favorites back in the Attitude Era, of course. He brought the tap out arguably to WWE. The UFC fighter coming in, would have the vein in his neck seemingly pop every time we put on an ankle lock, and you'd have superstars screaming and tapping out to him. He was a former King of the Ring winner as well, multi-time Intercontinental Champion, did challenge for the WWF Championship a few times as well, and personally for me would love to have seen him held the top title. Ken Shamrock has remained in amazing condition as well. Of course, he's competed in TNA as recently up to I believe 2021, so I'd like to see him just be acknowledged and put into the Hall of Fame, with as well the fact that he was put into the TNA Hall of Fame, of course Impact Wrestling at the time. He had The Rock be the person to induct him. If The Rock is around on WrestleMania weekend and could induct Ken Shamrock, that could be a very fitting role as well. And again, sort of slides in with that Netflix thing that I'm talking about, which of course for 80% of the globe, that's where all of WWE content is now. So I have that feeling where I just think of Netflix at the same time. Rock being involved in Hall of Fame, not necessarily going in at this point, but could induct someone else. Ken Shamrock has a lot that he's brought to the table, so I think he would be a good shout to go in the Hall of Fame. My next selection will be Sid Justice, a former multi-time WWF champion back in the 90s, of course a world champion as well in WCW, of course under Sid Vicious. He has main evented 2 WrestleManias as well, WrestleMania 8 against Hulk Hogan and WrestleMania 13 against The Undertaker. Not necessarily known for his great in-ring competitive not necessarily known for his best in-ring style, but more known for the presence and the character work that he had as Psycho Sid. The guy was generally frightening to watch at times as a child growing up, and certainly felt believable in his role. Of course, sadly, he is no longer with us at this stage, but certainly a Hall of Fame induction certainly feels like it would be due in my personal opinion. So I'd like to see him get his respects given and put into the WWE Hall of Fame. My next selection will be a WWE referee, Charles Robinson, because, well, he's been in the game now for like 30 years. Of course, started in WCW, and of course he was Little Nature alongside Ric Flair at one point as well. Pretty entertaining in 1999. Of course, he would move on to WWE, of course, in the Invasion angle, of course, being one of the WCW refs, and then moving on to the likes of Raw and SmackDown, and still refereeing today. Of course, probably one of his best moments known is the very fast run down the very long aisle at WrestleMania 24 in the main event of Undertaker versus Edge. I just think that Charles Robinson has been around in the business now for so long. I think it's only right that he's given a rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame. And yeah, referees have a very key role in what we see going on every week. They need to keep the timing together. They sometimes have plans of how things should go in the match, and they help keep the structure going. So yeah, I think that Charles Robinson, for doing things as long as he has, deserves his reward in the Hall of Fame. Now, I've purposely left the tag team spot till last because I have one of two options, and I'm pretty sure everyone's going to say to me that neither's a possibility, and that's fine, that's totally cool, but this is my video, it's my prediction, I want to have some fun with this. So first off, option number one, before I go on, I'll give you option number two, then I'll give the prediction of which one I'm going to go. Option number one, WWE have had a bit of a relationship going with TNA in the last 12 months. Obviously, we've seen Jordynne Grace in the Royal Rumble, we then have seen her involved with NXT, and obviously other TNA stars involved with NXT during 2024. Now, in 2025, I expect that to continue. I've predicted Joe Hendry will be in the Royal Rumble, but there is a tag team in TNA right now that I think that have done a lot for WWE throughout the years, have done a lot for tag team wrestling, have been around everywhere, and I just think even though they're still active, I think that WWE would like the cool factor for the Hall of Fame going into arguably the biggest WrestleMania of all time, and especially going into Vegas. I'm suggesting potentially that Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys, get an induction into the Hall of Fame. Yes, I understand they probably will want to retire first, but these two have been generational and inspirational to almost probably every tag team you watch today. They redefined the ladder match of what it was, then against Edge and Christian back at No Mercy in 1999. Of course, unbelievable table match with the Dudley Boys, creations of TLC with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys, of course, in the 2000s and 2001 WrestleMania X7. There's just incredible stuff these guys have done as a tag team on and off. They've done great work as singles wrestlers as well. Time will tell whether their accolades individually would be recognized by WWE in the same Hall of Fame, or if they would just keep it as the tag team. They've had one of the best WrestleMania returns of all time at WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, of course, where they went to win the Raw Tag Team Championships in the 4-way ladder match. So they've done some amazing things as a tag team, and I personally would like to see them as an option that could go into the Hall of Fame. They certainly will one day. The question would be if they would do it while they were still active. Now, the second tag team is a tag team that's not active anymore, but I believe there's been some, let's say, politics that stopped them being in the Hall of Fame up until now. But I think with the new regime being involved, I just think that anything can happen at this point, and I think they could get what I would feel is a rightful place in the Hall of Fame. I'm talking about Demolition, one of the teams that absolutely dominated the 80s, the counterpart to what the Road Warriors were in the NWA at the time. Demolition came in and dominated the tag team division, holding the tag team championships for well over 480 days, a record that would last for a couple of decades until the New Day would break that record. Of course, since the Usos have gone on to break the record further, but Demolition were a tag team that were, innovative of their time. They were someone that were standouts. I always remember fondly WrestleMania 6 in particular, them against Andre the Giant and Haku, of course, the Colossal Collection. So yeah, for me, I think that it's certainly a just to put them into the Hall of Fame. Of course, later Axe and Smash would also welcome Crush to the group as well. They would have a fantastic tag team match, of course, with the Hart Foundation over a couple of SummerSlams as well. 2 out of 3 falls in 1990, I think, is the one that people remember most fondly. Now, Now, whilst most people would say that neither tag team are likely to go into the Hall of Fame this year, I will predict that one of them will, and this one is a backup option. I think for the cool factor, it would be amazing to see the Hardy Boys in there, but I'm going to go out and really on a limb and say I predict Demolition will go in. Last year I went with a more, let's say, tag team from my generation, and then we got obviously the US Express from WrestleMania 1 giving the call, and rightly so as well, to the Hall of Fame. Triple H does like to go with, I think, a lot of legendary names, some that go back past some of people's generations, arguably even mine, so I'm going to go with Demolition to get the nod this year. But that's my predictions for the Hall of Fame anyway. What are your predictions for the Hall of Fame this year? Who do you think is going to get the call to go in? There are many great legends out there in the wrestling world that deserve the call, so let me know who you think it will be in the comments below. A couple of honorary mentions just before I go. I would love to see Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader, Victoria, and even Lex Luger get the nod into the Hall of Fame one day. Not who I predict to go in this year, but certainly I think on screen with their careers in WWE and the wrestling world, certainly would be great names to have in a Hall of Fame at some point. But let me know your picks in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and check out this video now on the side of your screen. Take care, thanks for watching. I'll see you for the next video.